Early sun on my window, waking dreams inside, clearing out all worries I used to hide. Step by step, I'm leaving yesterday behind, dancing through the moments, making up my mind. Found a spark within me, shining bright and true. I see the faces smiling, feeling something new. No more standing lonely on the edge of things. I'm ready for the rhythm this fresh season brings. Heartbeat rising, hope is alive. We're reaching higher, side by side. This is our time to arrive. Let's let go and let it shine. New year, new groove, we belong. Raise our voices, make us strong. New year, new groove, sing along. Finding joy where we come from. Baby, new year, new groove, moving on. New year, new groove. Changing up my vision, learning how to see. Colors breaking open possibilities, turning doubts to music, letting courage lead. The fruit of every struggle, now I plant the seed. No fear in the daylight, open arms wide. We're building up a future, standing unified. Every beat reminds me we're becoming free. I'm dancing with my people where I need to be. New year, new groove, we belong. Oh, yeah. Raise our voices, hearts are strong. Baby. New year, new groove, sing our song. Feeling joy where we come from. New year, new groove, moving on. New year, new groove. We rise up boldly, find our way. Oh, set us fade, brightest day. With every step we celebrate together, map the world away. It's new groove, we won't hesitate. New year, new groove, we belong. Raise our voices, shining strong. New year, new groove, sing it loud. Finding joy where we come from. New year, new groove, moving on. New year, new groove, carry on. We're
Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year to you. Let's get to it. Happy New Year, everybody. Decided to come on this morning. Some of you are still asleep. Some of you are in recovery. I don't know, but I'm in Puerto Rico, so it's 10 a.m. here, and I've been up for quite a while. So I wanted to come on. This is that milestone moment, right? It's all about, New Year, and some people, New Year, new me. Well, let me say firstly, New Year, um, new music, right? So that was one of the gifts at the end of 2025 is this new door opening up for us to create new music, and it has been a blast. So there's a new song that I put out this morning by Mina Sky called "New Year, New Groove." So throw that in your box of motivation and encouragement as we move into this new period. And so let me ground this for some of you who might be new. We have a lot of people actually who are new to the Pivot Play podcast group. I want to go back and give you a little bit of history on where this came from, and even in this moment, why I think it's important. And also understand that it is it's 10 a.m. Uh, I'm big on intermittent fasting. This morning, I'm going to allow myself to have some fruit. So as people come on, if you guys are asking questions or whatever, I have a banana here, I have some pineapple, I have water. So I want to make it like this is, let me say it this way. The way I would tell people, even in the corporate space, like we need more conversation, less presentation. So all the super prettied up and blah, 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 we're good. Trying to figure out what this sort of glossy, glary thing is going on here. I'd clean my camera, but I don't know. But you guys are seeing my space. Am I blurred? Is that what I'm doing here? I might be blurred. Anyway, all right. So let me anchor a couple things here. The Pivot Play podcast came from when we stepped into COVID. And if some of you remember what that was like, it seems like that was such a long time ago, but it really wasn't. And I had started doing videos that I was calling the Corona Chronicles back then. And I thought that they were important because for me, it's all about perspective and um, kind of understanding where we are because you're going to make decisions. But if you don't know where you are or you don't have the proper context for what it is you're dealing with, then it doesn't really it doesn't really help. Do me a favor, when you guys come on, can you just let me know that you're here? I'm by myself, so I'm just trying to pay attention to comments, and then if you would like and share, that would get us a little love here on Facebook. Anyway, so my thing has always been to bring clarity where I believe that I have it. You don't hear me say the word truth. Like I'm not going to tell you I'm telling you the truth. I think that the word truth has become weaponized, and actually become a pretty dangerous word. So we can talk about facts. We can talk about again. This is from my perspective, right? And so we started in that, but it was pivot play because like we had been doing one thing, then we needed to quickly do something else. But it was more about how do we come out of this when it's over? And I had a pretty clear vision that some things that were standing, understood, relied upon, were just not going to be there anymore. And we needed to be prepared to anchor ourselves and then shift to something else. And I think that that has bared out to be true. And so I think we're in that moment again. But so let's jump on this whole as we enter, 2026 thing. A lot of people have the what is it, the new year, new me. They have goals, and I know people doing vision boards and resolutions and all that stuff. So we're going to deal with some of that. I want to help you to the best of my ability to unpack some of that, because ultimately for me, I really do want to see everybody win. I want to see everyone make their maximum contribution to humanity and to society. I want people to be the best version of themselves, right? So I'm wearing a live free. Look at that. Don't even know what side I'm on. I'm looking at myself in here, so I'm mixed up. But I'm wearing a live free shirt this morning, which is that came about when I went through my cancer thing now 15, 16 years ago. But I really want to help, right? So for me, it was one of those sort of breakout moments, a very pivotal moment in my life. And it was early on in my career. I worked for a payroll company over in Jersey. It was ABC Payroll. They don't exist anymore. But ABC Payroll, if my memory serves, I think was the number five payroll processor in the country, and was doing really well. But there was a juggernaut in North Jersey called ADP. They're still around, and really ABC was kicking ADP's butt in their own backyard, and so they bought the company, right? And so with that came a new president, and this is just stay with me. This is important. Came a new president, and the new president of the company just so happened the guy who was on my team used to work for him 5 years prior. Now, back then in the payroll game, if you were a branch manager, it was just like a local small office. You may have had some sales staff that went out to acquire new business, you know, but you went around and you collected, timesheets or whatever, and then someone delivered back physical checks. This is before we were deep into direct deposit. So these offices were small. And so what I looked at was, wait a minute, this guy was a branch manager 5 years ago, and now he is president of this company, and I think still had a like a regional, like a VP title within ADP. And I had the question, it's like, well, how you do that? And what and this is the gift, right? And this is if we pay attention, right? Life will give you gifts and great moments. And so two things happened out of that. One is because I worked with someone who used to work with him. He said, well, one thing that I know that he does is he has a list of index cards. And on those index cards is something that he believes about himself, his future, who he is, and he does not leave the house in the morning without rehearsing, going through those cards. And I think I was made to understand he had like 100 of them at that, just around that number. So a lot of affirmations, I am types of things. And I heard it, but didn't really understand what that meant. I do now, right? It's called the power of auto suggestion, right? This is us programming ourselves to be our better or best selves, right? That alone could absolutely change your life, adopting that, adopting that practice. But the second thing was this new president, his name's Gary. He sent out a memo. And on the memo, he said, at my secretary's desk are is some information, right? Sort of in the self-help space. And basically these were back then, these were cassettes, right? So they were, in a sort of a binder, and there was usually 6 cassettes in there or 8. And he just said, if you're interested, come check one out. I don't know who else did it, but I did. I went to his secretary, kind of looked at what she had, and I saw one that caught my eye. It was called Lead the Field by Earl Nightingale. So back then, I had a 45 to 50-minute commute to work. And so what I started to do was I started to listen to these cassettes. And it it's hard to explain as that information sort of poured in, it was transforming my thinking. And that had become the most significant pivot really in my adult life, because it took me from one line that I was on and put me on another. It was just phenomenal. And so I listened to Lead the Field by Earl Nightingale every day on that commute, every single day. No music. I love music, but no music. So, and that's where I got the term transportation university, because I was using that time to learn and transform my thinking, challenge things that I had believed in the past. And that was the beginning. So I went back, and then I got another, then I got another. Um, and it was something was happening inside my brain, my thinking, my behaviors. And then life just started, man, I just started on this climb. Now let me kind of throw you something interesting. So then I went and got my own subscription to Nightingale Conan. So I still have all of those cassette tapes, right? They have so much meaning to me. I'd hate to give them up. But let me say, I did order one, and I wasn't ready for it. And it was Think and Grow Rich. I listened to Think and Grow Rich, and throughout the entire time that I had that subscription with Nightingale Conant, I had never sent back any material that I bought. That was the one that I sent back. It seemed so just disruptive and counter to what I had been exposed to or taught, right? So that means both in the home and in the church environment, that I was in. It just they they were doing like this. I sent it back. Right now, Think and Grow Rich is important because it is considered required reading for people who want to be successful. Like, no, not for me. And then years later, listening to Think and Grow Rich, it's just like fresh rainwater just pouring down on me. So my point is, we go through transitions and periods of time, and there's also we get to periods where there's some things we're just not ready. We're just not ready for it. And I was not ready for Think and Grow Rich at that time. Um, yeah. So anyway, so I wanted to anchor that. Those were moments that for me kind of really started me on this. And then in terms of this whole thing of wanting to, have the courage to pour out these perspectives to other people, that also started a long time ago. And I was speaking with a buddy of mine that knew me back in high school, right? Um, and we spoke just the other night, and he said, like, I've never known you to know something of value and not be willing to teach it to others. And that's a fact. It's just the way I am. Like, I think one of the best images or visuals that someone could have of me or someone who's walking a path, but then dropping breadcrumbs behind it. I've just always been that way. As a matter of fact, the first public seminar that I ever did was called The Leap Forward, and that was in 1997. So I know some people just sort of flash in the pan, just pop up talking like this. I've been at this for a long time, um, and s- I just have so much belief in human potential. Uh, I know I'm a little edgy sometimes. I can be funny at times, but definitely a little bit of an edge. But it's just based on the way that I visualize things. And so, you know, I'm gonna test this whole can he eat fruit and do this because it's just this pineapple just sitting here staring at me. Um, so all right, so let's get into this. I'm curious about what people are doing, like going into this year, going into any year. So I remember a time where a buddy of mine and I would get together on New Year's Day and we'd sit at somebody's dining room table and just write out our goals, what we want to do, what we want to do. And I think that paid off. Um, I used to teach a lot on goals. I don't really do that anymore, or targets. I'm big on intention, but I can tell you that I have gone back. You kind of go through old papers and stuff where I have written out intentions, and I didn't really look at them again. After a period, and to see how many of those things that I actually forgot that I wrote actually have happened, right? In terms of what I wanted to own, the house I wanted to live in, what I wanted to be able to provide to my kids. Again, I'm dropping breadcrumbs. I remember my son was the first to live internationally. It was very, very disturbing for me, right? But it was disturbing for me when he went to college. We were in the Philadelphia area still, and he went to University of South Carolina as a pole vaulter and decathlete. And just his at the absence of his energy from the house, like I was ready to move. Um, but and then when we moved to St. Louis, he took off to Paris. It was very disturbing for me. I've always wanted my children to be at least where I can get to them, and I could no longer to get to him. And it was worse when my oldest daughter moved. I mean, he's a guy, got some size to him, big, strong, tall, athletic. You know, my oldest daughter is highly capable, but obviously much smaller. So I was not comfortable with the idea of her being abroad. And I ran across one of these pieces of paper where I wrote this stuff out in pretty vivid detail. And guess what I had on that list? For them to have those types of experiences. And I just forgot that it was in my intention. And then I was living it, and it was horrifying. So there's a key in there, right? The thing that we intend can come to pass, but it leaves our memory. It shows up, and then it could send us into a tailspin. Kind of weird, how the universe works that way. Anyway, so there are moments, and so that's always been my intention, right? So I do want to deal with a couple things here. And again, I keep saying a friend. I don't have a ton of real friends, but one of my best friends said that she and her kids would be doing vision boards today. And I know vision boards is a big thing. I think it became much more popular when the movie The Secret came out, right? And so people got interested in manifestation. And by the way, The Secret, good movie. It's kind of like, but in terms of manifestation, like really understanding manifestation, the movie The Secret is sort of like, in and of itself, is a trailer to the movie of what is manifestation, right? Um, I would actually suggest another movie that you may be able to find called What the Bleep Do We Know? That's really the name, The Bleep. What the Bleep Do We Know? Because it goes beyond the covers, and it really starts to break this down at like not just sort of metaphysical way. Um, when we're talking about subatomic particles and what all that means, like that stuff it is science, it's real. And I know that people have covered that with different philosophies and religions, but beneath it all, the stuff is still what it is. And being able to understand the mechanics of that gives you an understanding of your power individually when it comes to manifestation. So let me just check one thing here. All right. So, all right, so let's keep this going. I want to get more to what it is that I really want to talk about here. So I said to you, I don't really do goals like that anymore. I found intention to be a much more powerful thing. But whatever your process is, this is maybe one of the main things I want you to do. So if you're making a vision board, you have resolutions, you have goals. I'm not saying those methods don't work, right? But I'm big on this. Let's take a peek back, right? So this time last year, just entering into 2025, what did you do? What was the plan? What was the intention? What was the goal? What was the mission? What was the dream? What was that? And then what happened to that? And this is it. Like, what happened to that? Like, and I think we need to be able to ask ourselves that question. Like, you don't owe me the answer to that, but I think you owe it to yourself to say, what was that? What happened to that? What happened to me? Um, so gyms are filled this morning, January the 1st, 2026. Gyms are jam packed. And they know that that surge is coming, but they also know when it's going to trail off, and it's in about 2 weeks, right? So if you look at it that way, 2 weeks is just about 2 weeks shy of at least the standard teaching on what it takes to ingrain a new habit, which is about a month. But so we go through sort of this hype cycle, right? And then people trail off. And then some people are going to walk that thing out, right? They're going to be right there, but it's about 2%. It's about 2%. And so, how do you get into that 2%? Or maybe we expand the 2% to 3%, 5%, 10%, where there's more and more people who are actually able to have goals, intentions, visions, dreams, missions for their life and actually bring that to pass. That'd be awesome. But today it's about 2%. All right. So I'm asking you to ask you, what happened to last year's dream, goal, mission, vision board? What happened? What derailed you? What got you disinterested? What discouraged you? What distracted you? Now, here's what I'm going to say. If you go through your list and all of the root causes are outside of you, you got to go back. If all the root cause for why it didn't happen are outside of you and things that you believe are outside your control, I'm going to ask you to go back so you can see your contribution to why you're not able to work through these things. Like it's huge. Like you really want to know that. Like you really, really want to know that. And then that way you're not deflecting. It's like part of this taking responsibility for it, right? So I can look at myself in 2025 and I did a lot, accomplished a lot, learned a lot. Um, but I remember when we started Optivist Business Solutions, I remember saying to my partner, it's like, we've done other things in the past, right? So let's be prepared for this. Those things started, they ended, they may have had some level of success, they may have fizzled out. What I know is starting this company is going to reveal something about us in terms of what we don't have. A lesson we haven't learned, a skill we haven't picked up. When that shows up, we need to be able to face that. So that is not the reason that Optivist would not be successful. And I don't know how many people do that. And we were presented with those things of you guys do all these things really well, but personally, here's some other things that you need to learn and be able to do, or you need to find other people to do them, right? Especially in a business setting. But if you think about that for a minute, last year's plan, mission, vision, goal, didn't succeed, but why? I think it's often something that we didn't know. We don't know enough. We didn't research it enough, or we weren't open to that information when it showed up, and it derailed us, and we weren't able to complete that thing. Fear plays a major, huge role in why we're not able to accomplish these things. So understand this: at the end of the day, what you're doing is with the mission, dream, vision, goal, whatever it is, and a big believer that what comes to you for you to perform or execute isn't really about you. It's not really for you. So if okay, let's make it simple. If you're starting a business or growing a business, is that really about you? Or is that about your customer, your client, the community that your business serves? It's about them. And so our ability to put ourselves in a place to become that version of ourselves that is able to deliver that is powerful. But I also think about the other side. What happens if you don't do it? What happens if you're not successful? What happens if you don't complete it? Then, if the mission, dream, vision was real, there's something or someone on the other side that is now underserved because you didn't do it, because you didn't finish it, because you didn't learn the lesson, you didn't overcome the fear, you didn't partner, you didn't develop the trust with others that was necessary. So we have this outcome. And now, from one year to the next, it's just like spinning the block, starting over, the same process, same thing, same challenges, and really not getting it done. Let's keep it a buck, not getting it done. So another way to think about this, and forgive me if I'm just going to just cycle through sort of frameworks here, is the doing part of it, right? And I'm just talking about the operational part of it, but I mean, there's something that you want to accomplish. You can see it in your mind. Question is, do you see you when you see it, right? Meaning that if you kind of looked at it like an out of body experience, and now you can see yourself in that thing, doing that thing, having those experiences, like you're watching it like a movie. Look at you. Look at you in that moment, in that future moment. And if you really look at you, that's a different version of you. That's not the version of you that's observing it, because the version of you that's observing it is here in the now. You're future casting. You're seeing a future version of you. And that is an important clue, because that version of you has gone through the challenges. That version of you has overcome those challenges, those derailments, those roadblocks, those speed bumps. And so what I've said to people, and I don't know where this fits with your philosophy, psychology, theology, is engage that version of yourself in your imagination. Ask that version of yourself, how did you get here? What did you have to do? What did you have to overcome? What did you need to learn? Who did you partner with? Because that version of you in the future knows some things that you don't know right now, has done the things that you say you want to do, but you haven't done them yet. That is a very important clue. All right, so let's keep moving on to another one. Doing this sort of reflective work, and typically for me, this starts in October, where I really start to think about what have I done. Because by then you kind of set the trajectory for the year. It doesn't mean you can't do anything different or better, but you kind of set your pace. Let's just keep it a buck. In many cases, that's it. How often are we, hey Abronia, how often are we reflective of what has happened and what is our role, right? What is our personal accountability and what we are accomplishing or not? Stop there. Like, we have to own that piece. Well, you don't have to. I'm suggesting that you do. I'm saying own that. And it may be an uncomfortable moment, but it will grow you, right? It will grow you if you allow it to. Do the work. Why am I not getting this done? Why do I keep starting businesses and it fizzles out? And it's not like you don't have, like, people against you, ain't no devil coming after you. You just stop. You quit. You just stop. You lost your enthusiasm for it. You lost your why. You just stop. And what's interesting about that is how often have the people in your community, your circle, come back to you and reminded you of that thing that you said you were going to do? How often does that happen? Not very often. And this is what I say: you need to. Sometimes we need to challenge our circle. All right. And I've asked this question: like, is your circle trash? Right? Do they just, you know, hooray you and help you make excuses and all that sort of stuff, or do they help hold you accountable to your own thing? Okay. All right. So I'm gonna wrap on this with a couple things. So I do want us to go back and grade ourselves. If you still have your vision board, your goal sheet, your resolution sheet from 2025, go back and look at it. Do you have it for 2024, 2023? I bet you if you go back and look at prior years, you will see where you quit, where you stopped, where you gave up, right? Where you did not allow yourself to go through those growing pains to become that different version of yourself. Because when you see yourself in the future doing that thing, that version of you, that's naturally what they do. For you, where you sit today, that's a moon launch. You're not that person yet. And that's why in our minds, our thinking kind of determines the doing, which then determines the having or the getting. But also consider it's about the becoming. Who are you becoming? Because if you allow yourself to evolve into who you should become, then that level of success, contribution, understanding becomes the most natural thing that you could do. Where today it would be like me getting you up off the couch and telling you to go run a marathon. And that's not you. That's not you. You haven't put in any of that work. To allow yourself to evolve and become. All right. So here, let's get to the last things. And because I thought I was going to eat more of this fruit, and I am hungry. It was a good pineapple. I screwed up last time because I'd never cut a pineapple before myself. I picked a bad one. Well, it wasn't bad. I just cut it too soon. It was not sweet. This one, mm, so good. All right. Vision board people. If you do not properly activate that vision board, it's just an arts and crafts project because the vision board is a compass, right? It's not a vehicle. It should change how you think, influence what you choose, shape how you act, alter what you tolerate. Activation is the missing step with your vision board. It has to be activated, or it's just an arts and crafts project. That's it. So the activation is if this is the life I want, what decisions are required of me today to have that? Effectively, who do I need to become so that what I've put on this vision board is the natural outcome? I didn't win the lottery. This is just naturally what I do. And so the vision board should activate your decisions, making you more conscious of your behaviors and the outcomes. So you want the dream home, financial discipline, good investments, a good income strategy, a healthy body, training schedule, food boundaries, things like so make it a map. Your vision board, make it a map. But it is a map to the decisions and the behaviors that you need to enforce and impose upon yourself in order to acquire what it is that you want. And so it really should become uh how can I actually had a note here. I want to share this one statement with you. I thought it was important. Uh that's why you gotta be more prepared. When you do these things. But you'll bear with me because you love me. I love you. I don't know if you love me. You may. I don't know. I'll find it. I'll post it later. But I can safely say, make it a roadmap. Make it a call to action and not just something that becomes an arts and crafts project or becomes a wish. And I feel that way with your goals too. Like there's a layer beneath that should predict your behaviors. Okay, so this is the last. I'm actually closing my little notes here. But I will say first, this is a good time to go. If you've never read my book, I actually went through it this morning. And I don't spend a lot of time pushing this book. Um, Principles of the Live Free Lifestyle. Freeze that if you haven't seen it before. But I was thumbing through it this morning because I think it is again, it's a good book for the moment, right? So, but let me tell you why, and I'm not gonna read to you. But I'm just gonna go through some chapter titles and tell you why I think it's appropriate at this time. I think almost every chapter is, and then these are short. These are really short. All right. Living the tradition of the talking sticks. That is talking about community, being heard and hearing others. Solve the solvable problems. Self-explanatory. Did you really just pee on my carpet? It's talking about the people that we allow into our lives who wreak havoc, but then we have to take responsibility for the fact that they are there because we allowed them to be there. Uh, Being mature does not mean you have to grow up. This is about getting in touch with and always giving space to our curiosity, that childlike side of us that wants to learn, explore, because that allows us access to our creative genius. What's the next one? Stillness is an illusion. A little bit more advanced conversation, but still short read. One of my favorites. All life lessons come with tuition. Um, oh, here's one. Gold under your feet. What you're looking for might be there already. And by the way, there's an audio book too. So if you don't want to sit and read this super thick book, um, you know, go grab the audio on Audible. Oh, and I'm sorry, Amazon. Just look for my name. You'll find it. Anyway, the sage wisdom of Batman. It really is just talking about problem solving. Gratitude breaks through the darkness. The absolute foundation for any productive life. I'll 10 toes down. I'm standing on that. And then your race, your pace, meaning it's not up to me, anybody else to determine how or when you get there or if you move at all. It's up to you. You're going to do it or you're going to not do it. And what I think part of a chapter like that is also for me, because if you're around me, I'm going to push. I'm going to push. I'm going to push. Let me just say this transparent moment. I'm thinking of one person in particular that I've just basically moved, just I moved away from them and just separated them from my life. I'm going to say this because some people might not even get this far. I've been on here now for 41 minutes, so some people not going to get here. But let me just be really transparent. Because of my particular disposition, my gifting, if you will, people who are around me just do better. I don't know if it's the energy, the aura, my willingness to support, help them deep dive, parse out things. I mean, I'm I'm as creative as I am analytical. So, but I had a couple people in my life that have been around me in really close proximity for the better part of 10, 15, 20 years. And I just keep seeing us getting further and further apart. And one point I just had to ask them, I was like, yo, this doesn't normally happen. Why are you still where you are? Is it bothered me, right? And again, I can't own your choices or your behaviors, but if you're not improving, doing better, like it just that's bothersome to me. I'm your friend. I want that for you. How can I help? I'm like, nah, there's gotta be something else going on here because your joint's not moving ahead. Like something should happen. That may sound arrogant to you. I'm just saying something should happen. That was happening. And he laid out to me kind of a core belief that he had. I'm like, oh, well, that sucks for you. Um, and I had to separate from him. I'm like, let me give you an example. Some of you'll peek beneath the covers and understand what I'm saying. What if you picked up a copy of the Wall Street Journal, the edition from May 1st, 1976, right? So Wall Street Journal, May 1st, 1976, and you made that your guide to live by. Every decision making is going to be based off that edition. You think it's empirical. You think it's perfect. You think it's right. You've committed your life to it, but it's not giving you anything back. It's not delivering on any of its promises. As a matter of fact, your life has done nothing but go down. Your health, relationships, finances, but you were holding on to the Wall Street Journal from 1976, May 1st edition. You have made that your guide. You have become an apologist for that particular edition. This is what it's all about. It's right here. You could be sued for false advertising because everything you say that that edition is supposed to say that you are or should have, you none of it. Does it really deserve your loyalty? And this is where I want to end today. What is it that has your loyalty, your time, your commitment, your money, your devotion, but it's not giving you anything back? This is a hard look in the mirror question. So if you stay with me this long, God bless you. But if you're not there now and you've wanted to be for so long, it's just like a new habit. We talked about habits. The thing is, when you want to instill a new habit, you do know that there's something already in its place that has to come out in order for the new habit to go in. That can be painful. It has to be intentional. You have to be determined because the old habit is like, I've been here for a minute. Why I gotta go? I'm just rocking out. You want to evict the old habit to get the new habit in. This is hard for us to look in the mirror. So I'm saying, what is it that has your loyalty, devotion, time, commitment, money, but it's not giving back to you the way that it's supposed to? I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a relationship. I don't care if it's a job. I don't care if it's a partnership. I don't care if it's your religion. If it's not holding its own, does it really deserve your loyalty? If it's not what it was supposed to be, why are you its defense attorney? This I don't understand. Right? If you can feel my energy, I'm getting low because this stuff bothers me because people essentially surrender themselves to things that don't work, that don't deliver, that are not reciprocal. They're not even balanced. There's not even equity there. I don't understand that piece of it. Oh, I wish somebody on here would ask me a question about this. Ask me a question. That's the last thing. If you got questions for me, you can ask me about anything. I was kind of going through the book, but I think if there's 19 chapters in it, 16 of them are for this moment right now. So do yourself a favor. Um, but am I making sense though? There's something in your life that if you've been going through this cycle, you want to get there, you ain't getting there. There's habits that need to be evicted, but there's also some belief systems that need to be disturbed. They need to be interrupted, right? And that's really what a vision board, it's an interruption because now we're going to future cast of what it is that we want to become. But there's something in your life, I promise you. If you've been doing this, there's something in your life that you have given your loyalty to, your commitment, your money, your time, your loyalty. You have become its best defender, but it's not delivering. It's not paying you back. So why are you sticking with it? Out of loyalty? Out of obligation? Life's too short, brother, sweetie. Life is too short for that. And I know to separate from some of these habits, to separate from some of these beliefs means you have to separate from the people who are also part of those systems, those communities, that ecosystem that you've been in forever, maybe. There's others, 8 billion people on the planet. There's other people for you because as you elevate, you resonate. And you will have to identify now with people who resonate where you're resonating because the people where you were, and some of you trying to, it's like an FM dial, we don't really listen to radio like that anymore. But, remember when you kind of got right between like sort of two stations? Remember that? That's where some of you are. You're trying to live between two worlds. You're trying to live between two belief systems, between too many communities. That's going to mess you up. And then you're going to be the one carrying all that psychological and emotional baggage, right? Of wearing these different masks, trying to be these different versions of what people find acceptable. That's going to mess you up. It's either delivering or it's not. It either is what it's supposed to be or not. And the biggest fear that most of you have is asking questions about those things, making them prove themselves. Like, let's just keep it a buck. It's not for you to prove your religion. It's up to your religion to prove itself. And y'all got that thing twisted. You got enlisted and then you became an apologist for it. That's not the way that's supposed to go. Anything that does not serve you to the level of equity does not deserve you. All right. Anyway, I'm out of here. This will be posted in the Pivot Play group. I didn't put this out on my main page, so I want your questions. I will answer them if they come from people in the Pivot Play podcast group. Because this time of year, my text messages, phones, emails blown up. Everybody wants to talk to the strategist, the visionary. Only so many hours in the day. All right. But if you are in the Pivot Play podcast group and you ask me a question, I promise you I will answer it. All right. Let's bounce out of here with a little Amina. New year, new groove. Peace out, y'all.
Early sun on my window, waking dreams inside, clearing out all worries I used to hide. Step by step, I'm leaving yesterday behind, dancing through the moments, making up my mind. Found a spark within me, shining bright and true. I see the faces smiling, feeling something new. No more standing lonely on the edge of things. I'm ready for the rhythm, this fresh season.
Some of y'all coming on, I'm out of here. You gotta watch the replay. I'm just letting this new Amina song play for the new year.
Higher, side by side. This is our time to arrive. Let's let go and let it shine. New year, new groove, we belong. Raise our voices, make us strong. New year, new groove, sing along. Finding joy where we come from. Baby, new year, new groove, moving on. New year, new groove.
Hey y'all. So this song actually is on my page and it's on Amina's YouTube page. And we have another new artist coming out. Just because this is what we do.
Turning doubts to music, letting courage lead. The fruit
And
of
hit me with
every
your
struggle,
questions.
now
And yeah, I'm
I
great.
plant the
As soon as this song is over, I'm out of here.
seed. No
I'm
fear
out of here.
the
Hit me with your questions.
daylight,
But I love y'all. I appreciate you. Let's do big things.
a future standing unified. Every beat reminds me we're becoming free. I'm dancing with my people where I need to be. New year, new groove, we belong. Oh, yeah. Raise our voices, hearts are strong.
Okay, so I had to end it. Y'all are killing me. Now y'all coming on. I'm out of here. I think some of y'all haven't recovered from last night, clearly. All right. Catch the replay. Hit me with your questions. But I can't believe y'all just coming on. I've been on here for 53 minutes. I'm so out of here. But if you go back, if you don't find one useful gem out of what I put here, hit me up. I'll either give you, I don't know how many copies I have. If you get no value, you can find anything useful out of what I just said for the last 53 minutes, I'll send you a copy of my book. But you got to tell me what it was and why it wasn't useful. But if you can listen to all of that and there's nothing that's useful, I'm going to send you a copy of my book. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. Public schools have failed us all. All right. One more time, Amina. Get us out of here.
Early sun on my window, waking dreams inside. by step, I'm leaving yesterday.